Drew, let us know when we're ready to go.
Ready to go? Welcome y'all to our webinar that will be talking about the May 26th tour to Macedonia. I'm Coach Bolier. Call me Coach Bo or Coach. Um, we're on Just Right for now, where we want to talk about and give more information on our tour and some of our experiences in the past. And really excited that you're with us tonight, and look forward to being able to answer any kind of questions you have. And we've got a really good team and staff that'll help share information. So again, welcome and thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, what's up, Red? My name is Cam. I've had the privilege of going on the past two tours of Just Right for Now, and I'll introduce myself fully later, but I'll go ahead and introduce some of our staff. Uh, Coach Bo, go ahead and just give people your brief background.
The 4 decades of teaching and coaching, um, my basketball world, I've been all over the world, to be honest with you, mainly with athletes in action. And what I've learned is basketball is a great vehicle to take other people and let them see the world and help them to all of us to do a better job of finding out who we are and what God wants us to do. And so these tours that we have are from the experience of being in the classroom and in the court, and offering opportunities to um, for young men to grow and know who they are and what they believe in and what they want to do with hoops. So that's kind of my background, just a teeny bit.
And then Coach Byron.
Hey, Coach Byron Wilson. Been coaching high school basketball for over 20 years. Currently assistant coach over at Duluth High School. Was previously a head coach at Tequila High School. Been in the Gwinnett area coaching, like I said, for over 20 years. Have had the privilege of knowing Coach Bo for quite a few years. One of the first times I met him, he asked me, did I want to go overseas and help change lives? And I've been intrigued by that ever since. My son Blake has been on a tour twice. He's also on staff now, but just a great opportunity. Really excited to see what God has in store for us. But looking forward to getting to know all of you.
Drew, go ahead, hop on.
What's up, y'all? I'm Drew Bolier, youngest son of Coach Bo. Was able to go on the trip last year and be involved in kind of the start of Just Right several years ago. Great to see you guys. Appreciate y'all spending some time with us to get to know about us and what this Macedonia trip is all about. Graduated from Mountain View High School, played Division III hoops at Oglethorpe University for a year, and the last 3 years at Millikan University in Central Illinois. And Actually went to Macedonia the first time when I was in seventh grade, and so Macedonia has been a marking part of my life, and look forward to those who end up being able to go and having that opportunity. Hoping that it's a marking experience for y'all as well. And so as far as what I do on the trip, mostly operational, just making sure that the trip runs smooth. A lot of stuff in the background, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the structure of the trip.
And then I'm Cam. I partnered with Coach Bo a couple years ago. I run an organization called True Change. We help organizations build programs that impact youth. So I train our success coaches who go on the trip. We work with them year round on not just basketball stuff, but personal, spiritual development, and just becoming better men. And then TG, you there?
I'm here. I'm driving, so sorry about that. My name's Tyler Gamble, better known as TG. Went to Commerce High School. Had the privilege after that to go to Georgia State University and play there. After graduation, got into coaching and head coach for a little while. I'm currently at Admission to University, Emmanuel University, as associate AD. and just had so much fun the past 2 trips to Macedonia. Kind of like Drew said, obviously not as deep as the history, but so a marking trip and just a powerful trip that I've been fortunate enough to be a part of twice now. So I coach on the trip and then do whatever the rest of these guys tell me to try to make it as good as possible. But hope all you guys are able to go. Looking forward to meeting you and exploring the possibilities.
Perfect. All right. So just setting the tone for what we're going to talk about today, Byron, do you mind going over that?
Sure, no problem. So we're going to talk about why we do this trip, what the trip looks like, cost and logistics, how we want to help, next steps, and then we'll have time for question and answers after that.
So before we get into all the details, we have a parent who's been on the trip twice, and I think it's just very valuable to hear his perspective, what he saw in his sons. So I'll go ahead and let Tim share his thoughts. Tim, you on mute.
All right, thanks. All right, well, my name's Tim Nichols. I've been on 2 trips with just right for now to Macedonia. The first trip, both of my sons were able to go. My youngest son was going into the 8th grade. My oldest son was going into the 10th grade. So he's been as a 10th and 11th grader, and my youngest son has only been one time. But as a parent, of course, also I teach and I assist coach at the high school at East Jackson High School basketball. I've been there for about 5 years doing that. And before that, I did it at Jefferson for about 6 years with Bowling Dubose. So that's when I first started. But going on the trip, of course, about basketball, you're looking at it like this is a great opportunity, and it is. But what I love the most about the trip is how my sons got poured into by all the different men that were on the trip, the opportunities they had to look inside like themselves, and be asked some good questions, some tough questions that maybe they haven't even thought of before, but after or on the trip, while they're looking into themselves, they're thinking about how am I going to answer this question. Coach Bo touched on it in his introduction about how it's just like figuring out where they are, what they believe, how they think about some things, what they may want to do in the future when they get out of school or go to college and those kind of things. It's a great trip. If you are considering going and can, I would highly recommend that you do that and allow your son to go do that. It's a great growing time for them. It's a great learning experience for them. Get out of their comfort zone a little bit. Meet some new people. One of the things that I love about the trip, last year was my favorite, was the interaction we got to do when we were almost done. We got to work with some of the special need people that were in Macedonia. We played basketball with them and just hung out for a little while. And to me, that's like the highlight of the trip. Yeah, playing against other guys and them competing was good, but seeing them serve people and give them themselves and their time and the joy that they had in doing that is worth the trip. Other than that, I mean, the whole thing. They make friends with guys that they're going to hang out with, and of course they may not see them all the time. Blake's a great example. Coach's son. My youngest son like just idolized him while he was on the trip, and Blake was super cool. Hung out with him, took some pictures with him, and he still texts and interacts with Grayson and with my oldest son Noah. And it's a great relationship because Blake has been there. Noah will be going into next year to his senior year, and Blake challenges him and talks to him about the season, about his school, about what he's doing, all of these kind of things that, I mean, honestly, kids need. Yeah, I mean, not just their parents and their, mentors or their teachers or coaches. I think they need strong leadership from people that are just a little older than them, or even people that are their age that they can hold accountable and be held accountable for things that they do. And Blake does a great job with that. And I'm so appreciative of the commitment that he has with my boys, the friendship he has with my boys. And I've seen other guys on these trips that you may not think would maybe get along or would hang out with each other, develop those kind of relationships. We had a couple of guys the first year that are from Indiana, and my son Noah still like Snapchats or Instagrams or all the social media stuff, with those guys and sees how they're doing and talks to them and things like that. Um, I just think it's a worthwhile trip to where they're going to find out about themselves and they're going to find out about other people and how they're really not that different. And it's a great learning and growing experience, I think, for them. They're going to form relationships with godly men that I know love and care about them. And they're going to do their best to pour into them, help them learn, develop into who God wants them to be, and become better men and future husbands and fathers.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
Oh, my bad. Thank you, Tim. So go ahead, Coach.
If you put your index finger and your thumb together, it's pretty much, I think I'll call that your comfort zone. And if you always do what you've always done, you always be who you've always been. And I've obviously stolen that from someone wiser than I. But when we tell the guys do this, and we're in the Atlanta airport, and they're wondering, what am I doing? And we just say, like, let's don't come back the same. Let's be all be different. And let's blow that thing up. Let's blow up, meaning let's blow up who we are and come back different and be a better son, be a better brother, be a better friend, be a better classmate, be a better teammate, and not only help improve yourself, but the people around you. So it's more than basketball, but basketball is our avenue and a game we love, and you sure can learn from it. So it's more than basketball. It's getting out of your comfort zone through basketball.
I love it, yeah. And I don't really have much to say after that. One thing that we try to be intentional on is the exposure they get. Coach mentioned they get international exposure, the culture, the competition, the way of play, but also just them growing as men first and then players after that. And that
Yep.
carrying on to so many more things. Um, and then went ahead and let Coach Byron share a bit of his perspective.
Yeah, Tim, thanks for that. And Blake talks about your boys constantly and loves them. I think, just he came back different. Um, Blake is actually playing tonight, and he's playing this season. He's a sophomore in the classroom, but a freshman on the court. He had the red shirt his freshman year, and I attribute to this trip the first year to him being able to handle that as a man and not as a little boy. He really did a good job. We had conversations. There was frustration there, but the conversations were so different. He had a wider range, a wider perspective to pull from. Prior to going on the trip, um, it would it would take a lot of time. Maybe 2 days to get him to kind of come back. But after going on that trip and, then obviously going off to college, it would take a matter of an hour or two sometimes, or just a conversation. Even just recently, the other night had a game and we had a conversation, a text message, and it's just he's different. Um, that's the best way I can put it. The basketball piece of it was really great. And he did say to me, a couple of weeks ago. As we were talking about the trip and talking about the recruiting of other young men, he said to me, he said, "Dad, basketball is probably the second or third most fun, even most important thing that I did on that trip." He said, and I realized that the second year, but I realized that because I went that first year and it was all about basketball, but the things that I was exposed to and learned off the basketball court was really, really, really instrumental to me. So I just, I would recommend it for, obviously as a dad and as a coach, I would recommend it to anybody for their son because it gives them an opportunity to grow. One of the things I think is most instrumental for players, period, but for these young men is to step out on their own a little bit and not have the comfort of, they had a game, but they weren't going back home after that game. They had a few days and they were overseas. So they might be able to have a conversation with their parents, but they had to lean on their teammates. They had to lean on the men that were there on the trip with them, and they had to grow. And I personally feel like that was a big piece of my son's growth and development. And I'm proud to call him a young man right now. And I know that once he finishes school, he will be ready for the next chapter of his life, whatever that is, whether that's continuing to play, whether that's going, into the classroom, whatever it may be. I know this opportunity has transformed him, and to the point that he's going this year as a facilitator, so he won't be playing the game, but he'll facilitate, and just how seriously he takes it. He works with Cam with True Change, and he's outside of his classwork, and he's doing a really good job on the court. He's doing a good job in the classroom, keeping his grades up, but he's also working with Cam. And so whenever we're talking, he say, I may call him or text him sometime. He say, "Yeah, I got to call you back," or I might not get an answer. He'll call me back and say, "Oh yeah, I was on a call for Cam," or whatever. And I was like, man, okay, it's really, really cool. But it's great to see how seriously he takes it and how he's managing his time. And I know all of that is part of him going on this trip and growing and developing as a young man.
Love it, love it. Thank you, Coach. So next, getting into just some of the highlights of the trip, specifically when it did come to the basketball. So TG.
Wait, can you say that one more time? I kind of lost you for a second.
Oh no, you're good. So just going over some of the highlights of the trip when it came to basketball. I'll let Coach start, and then TG, you can fill in the blanks.
That works.
Yeah. I think that the basketball piece of it, the first time we play anyone in competition, all the players always say, "Wow, that was different. That was a different style of play. It might be a little more physical, or they move the ball differently, or they play differently." And to unite guys from really all over the country, I'm going to say mainly Georgia and Indiana, but for those guys to unite together so quickly and realize that basketball is a team sport, they have to depend on each other. That's a big part of what we've done. We played the under 20 national team over there. We were pretty young. Um, and we'll play this year, we'll play competition from different countries that will be U17. Looking forward to that a bunch. We've talked about, Tim mentioned the Special Olympics event. We're going to do that again. We're going to meet up with their team and get in the gym, and our team, the Special Olympics team, mix up and we play in a game. And then culturally, we go to downtown Skopje, to the old city, and do some shopping and have some lunch. And that the time period that we go into is back to the Ottoman Empire. So they get some big history on that too. Tyler, what else?
That's a lot of it, but I'll kind of add to that, and I guess maybe just kind of piggyback. For your son's perspective, of course, again, a lot of them go on the trip thinking basketball, 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 which is great. Like Coach Bo said, it's a vehicle. But I think it's kind of alarming when you get a chance to play against someone who's 16 years old and on a professional contract and play a little bit different than the than the guys at the local high school. So from a basketball perspective, I think there's no greater way than to go play against either. I mean, when we played the U20s, they really were grown men, but even outside of that, kids who play a lot like grown men because of the cultural difference. I see it at the college level. We have so many international athletes, and then so just the kind of the culture clash of international basketball versus American basketball and how different they are. It's a great perspective, and it changes a lot for them. And I think too, like just kind of to piggyback off what a lot of the other guys said, just the difference of you're halfway across the world, you're playing with guys who you barely know. Maybe we've played with them once or twice, or you've seen them, or you've followed them on social media. But then to pick it up and to then go have to play basketball with them in a competitive environment with very little practice. Honestly, it's a lot like making that transition to college. So I think the phase of life that they're in, it's invaluable. I see it. I interact with our coaches daily at the university, and the first couple of weeks are very, very different trying to do that. So I can imagine someone like a Blake way ahead of the curve when it transitioned to college because you've had to play with people you didn't know in a different style and a different I mean, in this case, a country. Of course, college is probably just a state. But from a basketball side, it's a lot of fun. It's probably a wake up call in a good way for the athletes, but invaluable. I wish I had something like this to prepare me before I got to college and realized, oh goodness, it's a little bit different than Commerce, Georgia out here. So it's a great opportunity from the basketball perspective.
Yeah, and DeQuill mentioned that to me on we text back and forth a little bit with his experience down in Florida that meeting up with guys from all over the world and playing together, his experience on that tour opened his eyes a little bit. And then the last thing is we take a day and go to Lake Okrid, which is one of the oldest lakes in Europe. It's pristine, and if it's warm enough, we get to get in the water a little bit. If not, we tuck our toes or fingers and stay out of it because it's too cold, and then have lunch out there. And there's 365 churches in that little thriving metropolis. So it's a great cultural experience going out there.
All right, now to the fun part.
Hmm.
Cost and logistics. Coach, I'll let you start it off and I'll fill in the blanks.
Yeah, look at that number first and get freaked out, and then get that out of your system. So you're going like, I can't write a check for that. And we all go through that and say like, that's true, and I can't either. We're not expecting that to happen. And thank the good Lord that we've been around some people that are helping us um, build resources that we can help. And just right for now, we'd like to pay 60%, and then for families and players to raise 40. And we have a fundraising piece that helps with that. And we're not turning away any money. You know how that works. Everything costs. And out of the 3,500, the biggest expense is the plane flight. Um, I can tell you that it's worth every penny, but it is expensive because we're going to Skopje, so there's a connecting flight, and this cost does it covers everything. Three wonderful meals a day, plus there's some in between snack foods and the flight, and a really nice hotel that we stay in, and insurance covers all of those things. And we'll talk more about fundraising. Cam, you going to talk a little bit about how we're going to do that and what you already have in place?
Yes. So when we talk about getting out your comfort zone, fundraising is part of that. A lot of times when we talk to parents, when we talk to coaches, me working with a lot of nonprofits, we say no before we even ask anybody, and we've assumed that people don't want to help us. So with that, we want to walk alongside you. Part of what we'll get into is how we meet your family, how we learn your needs, and how we help you with the outreach strategy, and also connecting you with networks that we've already built. So with that, we make it as easy as possible for you to raise those funds. Um, and it also teaches your son to have some skin in the game when it comes to, hey, I want to invest in my opportunity, them investing in college, people investing in different areas of their life. This is an investment for their growth that, as you've heard Byron talk about, as you've heard Tim talk about, it helps transform them as men. So getting the community, getting them involved, getting their family, getting their mentors, and then as we hear more about their stories and why this trip is important to you, and we'll get to the application on when we are doing outreach, knowing where they're helping to grow, where they want to grow in this trip, people want to help. So we've had multiple people in the past. One student, I'm not going to name his name, hit me up and he's like, Cam, I can't pay for the trip. We were able to work with him and he was able to get out his comfort zone to share parts of his story, for us to share it with different networks, and with social media, with technology. Everybody's 1 degree, a separation away. So once they go through the application process, which we'll get into a little bit more, that is part of us asking why they want to go on the trip, part of why we want to then to shoot a little video saying, hey, why this trip is important to them, how they want to grow. Because like they said, this is way more than basketball. If this was just a basketball summer camp, we wouldn't be asking anybody to raise any money.
Yeah.
But this is way more than that.
Yeah, the one big opportunity, March 13th, Friday the 13th, we're having a golf outing. And if and we have information that is accessible on our website, so justrightfornow.org. That's a great way to help start the fundraising and to help support what's going on with Just Right for Now and the overflow of our partnership with True Change.
Mhm. And then when it comes to the tentative dates, Byron, I'll go ahead and let you touch on that.
All right, so we're looking to travel out on May the 22nd, returning May the 30th. Also, NCAA quiet and dead period. So that a lot of concerns a lot of times for high school kids is, does this impact me with my AAU? It does not. That's during the dead period. It's very quiet. May 15th through the 17th is a live period. So again, you can see that's a week beforehand. The following week is a dead, very quiet period. The next open recruiting period will then be in June for the high schools. And so we would be back June and then July. So it would not impact your AAU. So if your team's planning a tournament or something that weekend, this will be very important because this will add international experience to your basketball playing resume. So I'll keep that in mind. We are trying to get applications in by March the 9th. We definitely want you to follow up after this and get those applications done.
And the application does not mean that you're committed. The application means you're in our system so we can get you information to further the process.
Mhm. TG, do you have anything to add with the college recruitment perspective? Because that comes up a lot.
Absolutely. I think probably two major benefits as it pertains to college recruiting is number one, and I don't know if Cam's going to go into detail or not, but we talk a great bit about that. Kind of like he was mentioning with fundraising, how to put yourself out there, how to do all that. So there's some workshop type material that will be majorly beneficial. Um, you got multiple people in the room who have played college, who have gone through that. Um, from every perspective, from Blake's perspective as a current student athlete to several different coaches as former athletes and current coaches or former coaches. And so definitely a wealth of knowledge in the room to help in that regard. But then the second part of that is knowing where the NCAA is right now and such a premium on transfer portal, such a premium on not taking high school kids. I think it's majorly beneficial to have that on your resume to say, hey, I've played against professionals. Obviously, we'll have some film and all that stuff, but to be able to say, I've experienced playing against grown men, I've experienced against playing against professionals who are currently on contracts in their country, I think is very valuable from a coach's perspective. It's a little different to say, I played a great game last year in Georgia high school 3A basketball or 5A basketball versus I did all that. Plus, I went over here and got exposed to some stuff and had some success or learned some things about my game or whatever. So I think it's very invaluable when you can talk to a college coach and say, "Hey, I've seen it and played in a different little bit different environment, which looks way more like college than any high school game you could be a part of."
So, like Byron said, I'm gonna say applications, we're trying to get in by March 9th, because also as coach talked about, prices, flights, all of that has to be booked. With us helping you fundraise, we want to give as much time as possible. and yep, getting all that in line. So how we help. Before the trip, we've already mentioned a lot of it is us learning about you, learning about your family, learning about how your son wants to grow during this trip, and really being intentional about. I'm surprised Coach hasn't said it yet. We're not catch and release.
For
Uh,
now.
so once you're in our circle, we want to feed into you as much as possible, and that includes before the trip. Uh, Drew, do you mind talking a little bit about during the trip?
Absolutely. So we've talked about a decent amount of Macedonia and the places we go, but the structure of the trip, we definitely have some downtime built in, a little bit of R&R. The hotel that we stay in is it's a four-star hotel, has a pool, a sauna, a hot tub, cold plunge, spa amenities. And so obviously being in that, staying in that every day, we want to, give the kids some time to reflect on what's going on, spend time together. Outside of the more structured time, team time being a major one, which is in the morning, generally structured around breakfast, doing some character, faith development, developing relationships, um, talking about yourself to your teammates, bringing down some of those walls, and just generally familiarizing yourself with the people that you're around, hearing different perspectives from people who come from different backgrounds. And we will do some of the academic and structured kind of workshops like Tyler mentioned that Cam is legitimately a professional at building and executing. And it's going to be awesome to see Blake take the lead on some of those because he's been there, spent a lot of time with Cam. And so it'll be very cool to see that kind of full circle moment with Blake stepping into a leadership role like that after last year being on the trip as a player. And the exposure, obviously, it's a different environment. And some people ask, well, why can't we why can't we go to Florida and go to a basketball camp, or why can't we go down to Atlanta and go to Georgia State and go to the nice convocation center, and then we can all be home by bedtime and dinner. But being away, being outside of your comfort zone, like we talk a lot about, it just changes things. It gives you a perspective that's more global and less local, and I think there's a ton of value in that. It's a different language. Might see somebody smoking a cigarette inside for the first time. The food is very good and also unique in some situations. So if you're a foodie like Tyler or Cam, you get your pictures out and get some good pictures. The food is very good, top notch. We have private chefs at the hotel who do the meals, and we do also go to some local fast food, kind of burger joints to get a feel for what it's like outside of the nice hotel, and just be around the culture of Macedonia, which is very unique and very different from Atlanta, Georgia, Indiana, anywhere that we would be bringing somebody from. And as far as the community opportunities, it's been mentioned before, but we had a great opportunity to spend some time with the Special Olympics group in Macedonia, who it was actually founded by one of our, we'll call them boots on the ground, one of our partner who makes it possible for this trip to happen. Has a very strong ties as the founder to that group, and like Tim mentioned earlier, it was the highlight of a lot of trips. And so you think about having an opportunity to play in a professional arena against professional basketball players, and almost without fail, every response was, what was the highlight of the trip? Is the Special Olympics event. And I think that it changes your heart, gives you a different perspective. Um, and so the service opportunities, I think, are just as forming as the basketball opportunities.
Love it, love it. And then after the trip, all students get access to career coaching calls, and then also the student portal we built out. So a few optional items they can do is they can create their player profile. We have resources for them navigating college decisions and college recruiting and just what questions to ask coaches and different things. And we also have group calls. So that's the group calls are not for anybody who just went on the trip, but that's also for anybody interested in student athlete development. We've had NIL. We've had calls that talked about NIL. We've had calls that talked about different career paths, specifically related to sports, and yep, just continuing to feed into them after the trip. So the next steps, the applications are officially open. It includes a few different items. One talking about their athletic achievements, their academic achievements, and also extracurricular activities. And we mentioned this already, but we'll mention it again when it comes to why they want to go on the trip and really their heart behind it. So them writing, I won't even call it a short essay, but an answer on that, and then also sending in a short film. And like I said, this is used for fundraising, outreach, all those things. And Coach Byron can give a little insight about what type of players we're looking to bring on this trip.
Okay, so obviously we want guys that have played the game. Ideally, they'll have some varsity experience, but we're not going to turn guys away. We want to look at them, but ideally they've had some varsity experience, some exposure to varsity basketball, have played at that level, and been competitive. We're looking primarily for sophomores and juniors right now. I've talked to some seniors, but what we're looking at is obviously if they're returning. Returning players that went last year as juniors and are current seniors. We're looking at those first, but some seniors we'll look at, and we're asking if we do take seniors, we're asking them to recruit a teammate from their school so that we can continue to grow and develop that young person, and they can take that back to the local school. Because obviously, as I've talked to a lot of colleagues and other different high school coaches, the goal is for these young men to not only they want to come back different, so they want to come back and they want to be able to affect the program that they're in as well. um, so yeah, that those would be some of the main things. As far as character, good character, young men that want to grow, that want to become better at be better leaders, be better teammates, be just for flat out better, best way to put it, just be better people overall in general. Like I'll go back to Blake, and I think love him to death. He's always been a good kid, but he got better. He got better over time. He got better as a person. He got better as a son. He helped me to become, I think this has helped me to become a better father, even though I haven't been on the trip yet. Working with him, that's helped me as a father because of the change that I've seen in him, which has helped me change in some ways. Um, so yeah, I think as a whole, I think that would be the main thing with the different players. And obviously, we want them to come back. We want them to be more vocal. All the things that their coaches are asking them for. Be better sons when they get home. Do things that maybe they weren't doing before they left. Be more considerate. All of those types of things. So the character building and all those things we're looking for.
Perfect. And then go ahead and talk about the open run coming up, not a tryout, but an open run.
Okay, so we got an opportunity. We're gonna just host an open run. That's just for guys to get out. Parents, you're obviously able to come to that, sit and watch, meet all of us, get a chance to talk to us, just continue to share and continue to learn and grow and get to know each other prior to the trip. But the open run is just for the guys to get out there and meet one another, shoot a little bit of hoops and just kind of see and talk more about what this experience would be like. And you'll have some guys there that have played. Hopefully we'll have some of those guys that are still local to be able to come out and talk about it a little bit. But the main goal there is just to get out, to meet one another, play a little bit of basketball, and get some more questions answered.
Oh, I love it.
And that will be hosted at B3 Academy, which is up in the Oakwood Flowery Branch area. Obviously, we'll have more details as that gets closer.
And then, like Coach mentioned, I'll just tag it. Golf fundraiser on March 13th. This is just, like I said, an opportunity to get the community involved, raise some funds. A very easy or low lift fundraising opportunity for kids who are going on the trip, so they can reach out to the community and see if people want to golf. Mm.
Yeah, and if any of you are not even golfers, come and join us anyway. We'd love to meet you. It's a big networking thing. And I'll tell you personally, I fought against it for a couple of years, but then wiser people than I said we need to do this. And I'm really looking forward to the networking piece of it. So come on out and join us.
And then in closing, Drew, any questions in the chat?
No, sir.
All right. So you can email us with any questions. Here's everybody's email. And yeah, Coach, go ahead and close us out.
Yeah, thank you for your time tonight. I asked the players, and I will ask if you're a player and you're on, and even the parents, like, do you believe in miracles? And the players in the past that I've been with for decades on these kind of trips have said, yes, I do. And I said, well, it's a miraculous opportunity. And it really is. The second thing is, do you want to change the world? And they look at you kind of goofy, and then they say, I really do. And it starts with the person in the mirror. And I can't promise you anything because I don't have that kind of power, but I can tell you that everyone that's gone comes back different. And we want to offer that opportunity. So, again, thank you and look forward to meeting all of you. And if you have questions, we've got all the information posted so you can reach out and we'll try to get back to you promptly. Again, thank you for your time tonight. Appreciate y'all. Love you guys.